everybody, it's Catherine from Jayne Catherine on Books, and nice to see you all. Sorry it's been a while, but August has been a really busy month for us. There's been loads of stuff going on, and not least that David's eldest son, my stepson Jason, and his partner Natalie have had a lovely baby boy. He's called Freddie. He's 2 weeks old, so we've been to see him, and it's you know, a bit of a drive down to Oxford from here. We've been obviously to visit Joe, Adam and Charlotte. We hope to get to see them, but Charlotte's just started a new job as a teacher, so yeah, we didn't manage to see them because they've got loads on. So it's been one of those round robin trips again, and loads of stuff going off. So as we start to get into the cooler weather, then yeah, I think we start to get more bookish, don't we? Less stuff going on and more time to read. So this is my wrap up from the summer Thrillerathon. Took place a few weeks ago now, and I read 6 books. So I was really pleased because within the week, completed on the bank holiday Monday, I finished one book that I'd already got on the go from group read, and I DNF'd one. Let's get on. I've had some good reads. The first one though, unfortunately, was a DNF for me. This is 11 Missed Calls by Elizabeth Carpenter. Now, I read her last book called 99 Red Balloons, and I loved it. It was really good, really gripping, thoroughly enjoyed it. I just couldn't get into this one at all. I read quite a bit and I just couldn't. It was so slow and not very much happened. I think I got 200 pages and there's not really that much happened. It's about somebody that went missing while they were on holiday in Lanzarote, I believe, or Tenerife, one of those, the Canary Islands, and we think she may have come back like 20 odd years later, and how this affects the family, especially her daughter who she'd just given birth to. Nothing much happened in 100 pages, and nothing like, for me, I just couldn't get into it, and I couldn't bear to continue. It was a bit too slow, but I highly recommend you read 99 Red Balloons. Next, I completed The House at Riverton, one of Kate Morton's. In fact, it was Kate Morton's debut, and this was a group read with Elizabeth from Lizzie Fay Loves Books, and it's on her comfy corner in Goodreads, so if you want to go over there you can still always join in. This was a 3-star read for me. It wasn't that exciting. I like Kate Morton, but you could definitely see that this was a debut book. She's very good at the split time narrative, and it flows, the books I've read, it flows really well, and there's no disjointedness. No, I don't think that's a word. It's not disjointed at all, shall I say, better grammar. I found this very slow. I found it rather mundane, to be honest. The writing was very good, hence the 3 stars, and I did enjoy it in parts. But I think she was just getting to the hang of how the split time narratives are going to work, and often she split it in the same chapter, which for me didn't exactly work. It was okay, you know, it wasn't a bad read, but certainly she's written better since. So that's The House at Riverton. Next, The Darker Arts, Oscar de Muriel, one of my faves, as you know. So I was kindly sent this by his publisher. It's a finished copy. It's now printing in hardback. Now this is book 5 in the Frame Grey series, as you all know if you've been here a while. Love that series, love it. And his last book, The Lock of the Dead, well, it blew me away. It was so well written, it was so interesting, it was creepy, gothic, great plot lines. It was more than a 5-star, you know, it was a 10-star. It was the best of the series, and it blew me away. And to a certain extent, I think that spoilt me for the latest book. So this latest book features Katerina, and for those of you that have read from the beginning, she is the long-term psychic friend of McGray, and she's got herself into a bit of a bother in this book. So she holds a séance at a home of a particular family, and by morning she's unconscious and everyone else that attended is dead. So it's a bit of a locked room mystery. I gave it 3.5 stars, and this is, in a way, I'm rating this against all 5 in the series. So I can't, for example, say, yeah, I rated this at 3.5. Oops, I'm dropping it so heavy. And The House at Riverton was a 3. I'm not comparing with other books. My 3.5 rating is for this book within this series, because it's still excellent. He's an excellent writer. This didn't quite cut the mustard for me in comparison to the others. And as I say, I think it didn't do itself any favours following on from Lock of the Dead, because that was so spectacular. Couple of things I didn't like with it. We do have a family tree, so that you get an idea of who. Let's see if I can find it. There's a few, which I'm glad he put them throughout, because at times I did get lost trying to see. You watch it, be every page but that. Yeah, there we go. So that's the family tree. And the ones that are filled in dark are the ones that are at the séance and end up dead. And I did find myself a little bit confused about who was who. So there's quite a lot of characters to take in, which is, you know, very similar to Agatha Christie in a way. You always get bombarded with loads of characters at the beginning and have to work out who's who. But I did find myself having to keep looking back to the map to try and work out who was who at times. It didn't always sink in with me. And it sort of spoilt the flow a little bit. When you have to stop and keep looking back at maps and family trees and things. Good. It still was an excellent book. I found that the plot was a little, how can we say, slow at times. I found that it obviously it features on Katerina, and I was most looking forward to this with her being a clairvoyant. I was really excited for this to come. But I felt that the plot didn't offer anything all that new in the closed door mysteries, and that's not what I'm used to expect from Oscar's work. They're usually, very unique, I feel. But that's just personal opinion, and I'm not slating the book by any means. It's just in comparison to others, it wasn't my favourite. The other thing is that, as you know, I love Frey and McGray, love their relationship, love these two detectives. I think we've got to be careful here though that McGray, I don't know if he's leading to a nervous breakdown. I mean, although we say that Frey has got post-traumatic stress from the loss of his uncle in Lock of the Dead. But I think McFrey's about losing his trolley. McGray, sorry, I'm getting all tongue twisted now. Mr. McGray, Nine Nails, is losing the plot. I found that his language was getting worse, and doesn't bother me, but there'll be a lot of people reading this that, I felt that the language was overdone, and it's being used appropriately in the past, where he's really I think he's getting more and more violent and more of a, I think we've got to be careful he doesn't go off the rails, reining back in a bit. So yes, I enjoyed it. As I say, please note that my 3-star rating is for within the series, not compared to other reads, because his 3.5 stars is still 4 and 5 stars of some other works, if that sort of makes sense. But yes, you need it for the series. Can't wait for the next one. The Darker Arts. Next, we had The Dead Ex, and that's by Jayne Corry. I've not read any of hers before. I enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. Vicky's husband David goes missing, and I think he's been murdered, and obviously they're trying to frame Vicky for this. I enjoyed this. It was a good read, interesting plot, good ending. Not much more I can say about that really. 4 stars. Enjoyed it. And I have to say that I've been enjoying the small market, mass market paperback size. And I never thought I'd end up saying that. They used to be all like that. And it's so easy to read. You know, when you've read a great big thing like this, and when you're starting to get arthritis in your wrists and you're struggling to hold a big book, oh, it was so nice to have something so dinky and easy to read. So yeah, bring back the mass market paperback, I say. Let's start a campaign. So that's that one. Next, In a Cottage in a Wood, Cass Green. I've heard of this. This is, I think I'm late to the party with this. Really good. This is a 4-star for me. And Isabel's walking along Waterloo Bridge in London one night, and there's a poor girl there that's about to jump off the bridge and commit suicide. She gives Isabel a letter, and it turns out that because she's the last person she saw before she took her own life, she's given her a cottage, she's given her property, and it's very atmospheric, it's very spooky. Probably I'm not used to the creepiness of it. I'm used to the macabre, but it's the setting of the scene, and you're jumpy, and if you read it at night I kept thinking I could hear noises, and to me that's you know, the essence of good writing. So the only reason I didn't give it the full 5 stars is that there's a few twists at the end, they're very good twists, but one of them I did guess, so it was a 4-star, not 5. But I'm going to get more from Cass Green. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, Mark Billingham, Cut Off. Now, to say this is one of these quick little reads, this was a 4-star. Really good. A girl, she goes to visit friends down in Brighton. She's got a second home there, like a holiday home. She loses her phone, and creepy things start happening, and goodness me, is there a creepy twist at the end. 4 stars, you know, to pack a punch to give 4 stars for a book that's only 98 pages takes some doing. So I'm going to be looking out for Mark Billingham. Excellent. Last Seen Alive, Claire Douglas. Now, you know I like Claire Douglas, I like her work. Libby, something happens to Libby. She's a teacher in a school, and there's an incident, and it sort of really creeped her out. So her and her husband Jamie, they haven't been married all that many years, and they're ready for a bit of a break, and somebody suggests a house swap. So off they go down to Cornwall, I think it is, to this great big luxurious mansion, and the couple that live there take over their flat in London, and off they go for this beautiful break and the beautiful Cornish coast, and weird things start happening. And this was creepy as well. This is another one where you're thinking, looking behind you, if you're going to, you know, if you read it before you're going to sleep. Weird things start happening, and she's not sure then, can she really trust her husband Jamie? Is there something from her own past that's coming back to bite her? I'm not saying anything more than that. I gave it 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, good ending to it. Can't say anything wrong about it really. It's a good plot, well written. Not read a Claire Douglas I haven't liked yet, so yeah, go and check her out. And then, are we right? Yes. last but not least. Oh yes, it's my Inspector Montalbano. The Other End of the Line. The Other End of the Line by Andrea Camilleri. And this is the latest translation from Italian into the English. It is translated by Stephen Sartorelli, and I was kindly sent this by Pam Macmillan. This is the final copy. It's about to come out. Yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed this, my comfort zone. You know where I love to go and get one of my Hamish Macbeth out when I need a bit of comforting. The other comfort read for me is an Inspector Montalbano. I particularly liked this one. I thought the plot was very interesting. We've usually got a couple of plot lines running through, and I just love the characters in this. It can be read as a standalone, but like I said in my wrap up, I think really to get the best out of this series, start at the front, because the characterizations are absolutely fantastic. There's so many very well-rounded, very well-written characters, and you know, I love them all in one way or another, and I don't think you get a sense of that. Before I started watching the TV series, I picked up one of these in the middle of the, you know, I don't know how many we've got now. We've got a lot written, and I couldn't get into it because I couldn't work out the characters, and I think that's because you have to start at the beginning, and also, you know, they've been televised so brilliantly that, you know, they run alongside beautifully. Unfortunately, Andrea Camilleri passed away recently, so I'm not quite sure how the series is going to go. He's heavily involved in the TV series as well as the writing of the books, so it may be that, you know, my Inspector Montalbano might have only got a couple more innings if he's written a couple of books already, which I think he at least one I think he's already written before he died. So yeah, I'm sad about that, but thank you very much to Pam Macmillan for sending me one of my faves, and I love this cover. There's been a murder. We couldn't have a Thrillerathon without a murder, can we? So there we go. I was really pleased because I have been in a bit of a reading slump. I don't know why. You know, summer I don't read as much, but really I've been very slumpy for me. And six books, I was really thrilled to get through that many in the week. So let me know if you've read any of those, how your Thrillerathon went, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.